Hi! Welcome back after 3 years for another tutorial. Well, we're making rings today. To make some pretty rings, things will have to get pretty ugly first. You're gonna need a tape measure for the size of your ring, some metal of choice. I'd recommend something light and easy malleable. Safety glasses, because nobody's allowed to get hurt on my watch. A hammer, get hurt. Cutting pliers, and some other pliers, broad bending pliers. Lastly, some narrow pliers. They all just have different purposes. It's really useful. The next few supplies you'll only need when you're making these band rings, which is a soldering iron and soldering flux, and some tin. The regular soldering supplies. You don't need them if you're making this other ring, so don't worry if you don't have them. The next supplies are all for making your rings nice and smooth, so some polishing tools, files, sanding papers. I got a bit wild with the Dremel bits. And then you're good to go! The first actual step for both of the rings is to measure the circumference of your finger or use the ring size you already know you have. You can then cut the wire to this length for the regular band ring, but for the wrap ring you should add an additional centimeter or two. As metal has a tendency to fly everywhere, please be safe, wear your goggles, look silly, have a good time. And then, when cut, that will be your ring. Now the manual labor begins. You want to get your wire as flat as possible so that it will actually fit nicely as a ring. I recommend holding the metal with pliers because otherwise you might hammer on your finger, and that's not great. Now a moment to show off why you need to wear safety glasses. Metal flies everywhere. Now, as you might be able to tell, this does take a while, however it's worth it and it's important for the process. Just continue turning the metal until it looks flat, and it should look something like this. Once you're done with that, you can file off the roughest edges, and then you'll start shaping it into a ring. This is the hardest part of the process, and I recommend finding a round object roughly the size of your finger, as this helps you get started on the shape. With this object, you can push the metal around it, and if it's a strong object, you can even hit it with a hammer to shape it exactly to the object. And this part of the process will really take long, and you can mix between using pliers and trying it on the object and also trying it on your finger to see if it fits nicely. And this will just be a lot of going back and forth between the mold, the pliers, and your finger. I personally find that both the broad pliers and the narrow pliers have their own purposes and uses, so that's why I really like them. Really only stop when you're comfortable with the shape and really like it. This will be difficult to change later on. I'll first be showing you how to make the simple band ring, as this might be my favorite. For the wrap ring, there's a timestamp in the description. If you have any excess metal, cut that off right now, so that we can get to soldering. Try to cut smooth edges, as this will make everything easier. After that, it might be possible that you need to reshape your ring a bit, as cutting might warp it. Any tools used in shaping before can come in handy again, and this is pretty final, as it's really difficult to shape the ring after soldering. So be sure you actually love it right now, and then we can get to soldering. Preheat the soldering iron if you have the time, because now it's soldering time. If you're new to soldering, ask someone to help you, please. Start by applying some flux to it so that the tin will stick later on. And be sure you're doing this in a well-ventilated area, as the fumes are not good for you. So I started adding tin, which was a bit hard as I forgot to initially clean my soldering iron. So clean it, it makes it a whole lot easier, and then start adding some tin to the ring. And once you have that, you can actually shape that tin to fit really nicely, snugly, be smooth and comfortable so that you can barely even notice it. This is the moment I realized I needed to clean my iron, which then made it a whole lot easier for me. This took a while for me because I forgot to clean it and I'm not particularly good at soldering. And remember, if you can solder or you don't have an iron, there's always the other ring you can make. Once you're done with soldering, this ring is actually nearly done. Only polishing is left, but that's the same for both the rings, so check in the time on the screen or the description. This wrapped ring is a little bit easier and you don't need as many supplies, and it's also my sister's favorite. For this ring, as you won't be cutting the excess metal off, it's important that the edges are well rounded to begin with. Then the shaping is mostly similar to the other ring, where you would like to bend it around an object first, but then as you don't want the two edges to align, you want to put it a bit at an off angle. It's easiest to hammer this into shape, get it to fit, and then decide whether you actually want the edges to stand off or whether you want to bend them to follow the shape of the ring like I'm doing here. As this ring is fully shape-based, take your time once more and be sure you like how the additional flaps look. This ring's a bit big on me because I made it for my sister, and it's cute! Here's the last and most rewarding piece of this tutorial. We're making things shiny. Put your glasses back on because there will be metal shards flying around everywhere. It's easiest if you can prop your ring up somewhere, but you can also hold it with pliers. Then you can polish the outside for the shine which you so desire, as well as the sides and inside for comfort. You could also make the aesthetic choice to not polish the outside, as the indented look can be kind of fun, but I personally prefer the shiny bits, and I do recommend trying it on while you're polishing it to see if it's comfortable and smooth enough on the inside. For the wrapped ring, if you didn't sand the edges well enough to begin with, this is a good moment to still try and salvage the soft and smoothness so it doesn't actually rip your skin apart. And now, once satisfied with the shine and comfort, you're actually completely done and can finally take off the glasses. And though this may not be your standard cute fashion video, enjoy my beauty shots. I hope that you like this tutorial. If you do try this at home, please don't get hurt. And I hope to teach you something next time. See you then. Bye bye.